शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः।
श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। So please remember, we have two Shanti mantras. First one is Vedic Shanti mantra, the other one Shruti Smriti Purana. Okay. So I shall just give a summary of what we discussed in the last session in brief. So in the last session we discussed this Purva Paksha and its answer. Katham ayam atma brahma iti pratyegatmanaha asya chadushpatve prakriti dvilakadinam murdhadi angattvamiti. So this is a Purva Paksha. So it is called a prakrama bhanga. I mean, apparently there is an error in the chronology of topics discussed. That's what Purva Paksha is pointing out. It's called prakrama bhanga. Katham ayam atma brahma iti pratyegatmanaha asya chadushpatve. So just before this statement, the Upanishad discussed this ayam atma brahma, this Mahavakyam. And so that is Vishwa abhinayena nirdishyati. So this Atman is Brahman. This Atman is our own true, our own real self is Brahman. So this statement comes from the standpoint of Vishwa. Now after this, why did the Upanishad, or why do you go to the subject of the macro, the universal self, that is this Aisya Vishwa Vaishwara Rasya Murdha Sutejas Chakshud Vishwarupa, etc. Those mantras are referred. So why this sudden change into the universal from particular or Vyashti to Samashti? So that is the Purva Paksha. And then the Siddhantin says Naisha Doshaha. It is not a problem, it is not a defect. There is no prakrama bhanga. Sarvasya prapanchasya sadhidevigasya anena atmana chadushpatvasya vivakshitatvad. So between the Vyashti and Samashti, between Adhyarmika and Adidevika, between Vishwa and Vaishwanara, there is abhedatvam. Because the same prajna, the same awareness is present in Vishwa, and the same awareness is present in Vaishwanara. At the Vishwa level, every jiva has his own murdha, then chakshu, then prana, hridaya, pada, and so on. So also the universal Vaishwanara also has got all this. And not only that, the same prajna is present in both. The same awareness, same bodha is present in both. So there is a prajna bandha, abhedatvam on the basis of having the same awareness in both in Vishwa and Vaishwanara. So that is the answer. And then says, Evam cha sadi sarva prapancho upashame advaita siddhi. So finally, when you reach Turiya, then Vishwa Vaishwanara Abhedatvam is established and we reach Advaita Siddhi. So here we have to remember, in the Sankhya system also, there is something like this. From Jada Prakriti, Mahatattva comes, from Mahatattva Ahangara comes, and from Rajasika Ahangara, Tamasika Ahangara, and Sattvika Ahangara, the Panchajnanendriyas, Panchakarmendriyas, Mana, all these evolve. And then Tamasika Ahangara is the source of Panchamahabhutas, and Panchamahabhutas constitute this world. So everything is an evolute, indirectly or directly, of Prakriti. Now this is evolution. And when you reverse the evolution, it's called involution, from Panchamahabhutas to Tanmatras, and then Ahangara, Mahatattva, and back to Prakriti. So this is Sankhya process. So in Vedanta, it is different. So what is Srishti? Srishti begins with Prajna. Prajna is the Vyashti aspect in Sushupti, and Ishvara or Avyagritatma is the Samashti aspect in Sushupti. So that's how creation begins in Prajna, and then it goes to the subtle aspect, less subtle than Prajna, that is Taijasa, and finally it reaches the grossest aspect, Vishwa, that is this Dvaita Prapancha. So this is Srishti. Now, what the Upanishad, what Bhashyakara says is Sarva Prapancha Upashama. That means Samhara. So in the whole Upanishad, in 12 mantras you find, we all begin our Samhara process, Vichara process. That is Abhavada process from Vishwa, from Sthula Prapancha. And this Sthula Prapancha, Vishwa, Vaishwanara merge into Taijasa Hiranyagarbha, that is in Swapna state, which is more subtle, and Vishwa and Taijasa together merge in Prajna. Prajna is the Vyashti, and Avyagritatma or Ishvara is the Samashti. And finally, all these will merge in Turiya. Just as we already mentioned, Karshapanavath, the one coin, let's say 1 rupee coin, $1 coin, you may say, and it has got quarters. So 1/4 of it is involved in 1/2, and 1/4 and 1/2 are both merged, is involved in 3/4, and the quarter, half, and 3/4 all will be involved in the single one full coin. Like that, in Samkhara process, through Vichara process, what happens is Sarva Prapanchopashame Advaita Siddhi. Slowly through Vichara, we understand the Mithyatvam, the transitoriness, the illusoriness of Dvaita Prapancha, the Vishwa state, because what we experience in waking state doesn't exist the same way in dream state, Swapna state. So each cancels the other. So you can find the transience, the change. So whatever remains the same in the Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti, Avasthatraya is real, and whatever undergoes change in these three stages is unreal from Vedantic perspective. So that means both Swapna experience and Jagrata experience are equally unreal. And now remember, one should remember one important point here, when Advaitins say that the Swapna and Jagrat state are unreal, it is only from the highest Turiya perspective. So there is called an Itaredara Bheda is there. Itaredara Bheda means except from the Turiya perspective, at all other levels, there is a difference between Swapna experience and Jagrat experience. But from the highest Turiya experience, Swapna experience is as unreal as Jagrat experience, because in both there is avidya is there, avidya, kama, karma, all those things are there. So that is an important point. Remember, Advaitins do not say that the Swapna and Jagrat are the same at their level. They Swapna and Jagrat are equally unreal from the Turiya perspective, from the highest absolute perspective, absolutist perspective. But from their own perspective, from the Jagrat perspective or Swapna perspective, from that standpoint, from the standpoint of Jagrat and Swapna, they are different. So that is called Itaredara Bheda. Okay, so that's why evam cha sadi sarva prapancha upashame advaita siddhi. Sarvabhudascha atma eko drishtasyad. This statement is very important. What it means is, this is the intellectual conclusion. Sarva prapancha upashame advaita siddhi. Now, sarvabhudascha atma ekaha drishtasyad. Now, this should be realized. This should go to the level of sakshatkara or realization. The realization, it should become an anubhuti. That is the meaning of drishtasyad. It should become an anubhuti. And to drive, how this Advaita Siddhi, Advaita Anubhuti is experienced by the Jiva, the Bhashyakara gives a pramana, that is from Ishavasya Upanishad, Sarva Bhudani cha Atmani, Yastu Sarvani Bhudani ityadi Sutyartha Upasamkritaha cha evam syad. So, Anyatha hi Sudeha Parichinna eva Pratyagatma Sankhyadibhihi Drishtasyad. So, and then Tathacha Sati Advaitamiti Sudikruto Visesho Nasya Sankhyaadi Darsanena Aviseshad. So here is a problem. This is common in many ways in Sankhya philosophy also. That is the Prakriti, the Samashti aspect is present in the smallest Vishti aspect of Drishya Prapancha. So you have to remember the whole evolution from Prakriti to Mahatattva, Mahatattva to Ahankara, and from Ahankara, Sattiva Ahankara, Tamasika Ahankara, Rajasika Ahankara, we get Pancha Jnanendriyas, Pancha Karmendriyas, Mana, and from Pancha Tanmatra, which comes from Tamasika Ahankara, we get Pancha Mahabhutas, which constitute the world. So, the most insignificant entity in the universe, in the Pancha Mahabhuta universe, the Prakriti is already involved. So, it is not a speciality of Advaitins. So, some people may argue this is not different from Sankhya philosophy. That's why Bhashyakara says, Sankhyadi darsanena aviseshat. So, what the Anandagiri says, Sankhyadi pakshasya api pramanikattvena pratidekam parichinnasya pratyagatmano darsanena pramanika artha abhyupagado bhavati. So, according to Sankhya philosophy, the same principle is accepted, the macrocosm and microcosm. The whole and part are the same. Rather, you can remember, Swamiji's statement in the plan of creation of the macrocosm and microcosm are the same. So that fundamental principle is there, and that is acceptable for Sankhya philosophy also. So somebody may argue this is not very different from Sankhya philosophy, which is a Dvaita Siddhanta. not Dvaita Siddhanta of Madhvacharya, but Dvaita, or means any system of philosophy other than Advaita is called Dvaita in the Bhashya chronology, vocabulary. According to Shankara Bhashya vocabulary, any system of philosophy other than Advaita is Dvaita. That which is not Advaita is Dvaita. So Sankhya philosophy is the classic example of Dvaita philosophy, because every jiva has its own Atma. So that's why, Sankhyaadi Pakshasya api Pramanikattvena Pratidekam Parichinnasya Prattigatmanaka. In every Sharira, in every body, in every Deha, there is one Atma. And that is Parichinna Atma. Parichinna means it is limited by that particular body. So that entity also, because the same Prakriti exists in that, and Purusha also exists. So Bhashyakara says it is different. So in order to drive home the difference, Bhashyakara quotes from Ishavasya Upanishad. So you can see this mantra. Yasmin sarvani bhudani atmaiva bhut vijanataha tatra ko moha kashoka ekattum anupashyataha. That means anyone who experiences this Advaita Anubhuti, I already mentioned, Advaita Siddhi, will feel the presence of the whole existence in him, and he will experience his own existence in everything. So everything will be present in him, and he will be present in everything. So the whole creation will be present in him as Antaryami, and he himself will be present in everything. So the whole Samashti is present in Veshti, and Veshti is also present in Samashti. That Anubhuti will come to a person who reaches this level of Turiya Advaita Siddhi, which is Sarva Prapanchopashama. The entire Dvaita Prapancha becomes transcended. That is Advaita Siddhi. At that stage, a person would feel everything in him, and he will feel he himself is present in everything. So that marks the basic difference between the Sankhya philosophy and the Advaita philosophy. So in Sankhya philosophy also, there is this Sudeha Parichinna Atma is there. Every jiva has its own Parichinna Atma. It is limited by his body, his Antakarana, Mana, Buddhi, Chitta, Ahankara. So all these are present in every person. So accordingly, each jiva has its own Atma. That is Sankhya philosophy. That is dualism, pluralism. So it is totally different from that. Advaita experience is totally different from the Sankhya experience, because yasmin sarvani bhudani atmaiva bhut vijanadaha tatra ko moha kashoka egattum anubhavita. Means the person who experiences that egattum, he will have no moha, no shoka. Anupashyati means every minute, every second, every microsecond that Advaita Anubhuti is experienced. So tatra ko moha, ko shoka ekattum anupasyataka. When Advaita oneness, unity is experienced, every moment there will be no moha, no shoka. That is the difference between Sankhya philosophy and Advaita. Now you can listen. Yastu sarvani bhudani ityadi sutyartha upasamkritaka chaivam siyad. So, means seeing everything in oneself. That is sarva bhudani cha atmani. So, in oneself. Atman is not an object in which everything is seen. Atman is one's own self, in oneself. That's the idea behind. Anyatha hi sudeha parichinna eva pratyagatma. That is Sankhya system. Anyatha, otherwise, sudeha parichinna eva pratyagatma sankhya bihi iva dushtasyad. It would be identified as a philosophy very similar to Sankhya philosophy. Tathacha sati advaita viti sudikruto vishesho nasyad. then in that case, what happens? This Advaita has no special distinction from Sankhya philosophy. Such a wrong idea could emerge. In order to avoid that misunderstanding, the Bhashyakara quotes from Ishavasya Upanishad, that is Sarva Bhutani Chatmani, etc. Ishyadi cha Sarva Upanishadam Sarvatmaiki Pratibhadakatvam. So we are going to discuss this. We will be shown again. Ishyade cha Sarva Upanishadam Sarvatmaiki Pratibhadakatvam. So the only purpose of all Sudhi Vakyas is just to show Sarvatmaikyam, means Atma is one, Atma is Sarvavyapi, Atma is Antaryami. So this spiritual oneness and unity of existence, that is the central topic of all Upanishad Vakyas. Tato yuktameva asya adhyatmikasya pindatmano dilogangatvena Viradatmana Adidevegena Egutvam iti abhipretya saptangattu vachanam. Now, the reason why the Upanishad makes this statement in the last, Dilogadenam Udhyangatvam, you can find it. Bahiprashya Saptangam Ekona Vimshadi Mukha, etc. Why Saptangam is mentioned here? Saptangam, you should remember, that is a reference to the Upanishad mantra, that is in the Chandogya Upanishad, where there is the discussion, King Ashwapati tells these sages who went to him to learn Vaishwanara Upasana. So Prachina Shala, Indradibna, and so many others, Jana, Budila. So all these Aubamanyava, so all of them went to King Ashwapati. Aruni went to Ashwapati to learn Virada Upasana. So King Ashwapati asked them one after another, what do ye meditate upon as Atman? So one person said, I meditate on Murdha as Atman. Another person said Prithvi. Another person said Akasha. Like that. Then King Ashwapati told them, what you are meditating is just one aspect of that Atma. If you meditate like this, you will have a lot of good results at the material world, but you will not get real experience. So finally, he asked them to meditate. You already discussed the Chandogya Upanishad mantra, so we need not go again. Last session we discussed. That is, Asya Vaishwanarasya Murdha Suteja, you already mentioned here. Of this Vaishwanara, the upper region, Murdha is Suteja, which means Dirloka, and Chakshur Vishwarupa, and eyes constitute Surya. Surya constitutes the eyes, and Vayu constitutes Prana, and Akasha constitutes Dehamadhya, and then Apa constitutes Vasti, and Prithvi constitutes Pada, and then Ahavaniyapni constitutes Mukha. So this we already discussed. That is the Saptanga Vachanam. So why that is mentioned here? Tato Yuktameva. Therefore, it is very appropriate to equate the Adhyatmika. Adhyatmika means Shariratma. So that you remember, Adhyatma here is Sharira. So Adhyatmika is somebody who at the physical level, at Deha level. Shariratma. Pindatmanaka. That is also Shariratma. Vyashti Sharira. Tato yuktameva asya adhyatmikasya pindatmanaka dilogan yangatvena viradatmana adidevigena egatvam. Therefore, it is very appropriate to equate this Shariratma, this Pindatma, with Prapanchatma. Dilogatma means, Diloga Yangatvena means Prapanchatma. How our own physical constitution is equated with the universal physical constitution. Just as we have Murdha, so also the Prapanchatma, Vidadatma has Murdha. The Murdha is Suteja, Durloka, the celestial region. We have got Dehamadhya, and Dehamadhya, the middle portion of the body of Prapanchatma, Vidadatma is Akasha. So we have got our feet. The feet of Vidadatma is Prithvi. So like that is the, we already discussed this earlier. Vidadatmana Adidevikena Ekatvam. They are the same. Why this is mentioned? Why Adhyatmika Adidevika Ekatvam is implied here? We have to remember, we are going from Sthula to Sukshma This is Samkhara. Samkhara here means through Vichara we are just doing Apavada. We are rejecting one after another. The Sthula dimension of Vishwa, then more Sukshma dimension of Taijasa, and still more Sukshma dimension of Prajna will be negated one after another. Finally, when we transcend them all, we experience our unity with Turiya. So that's the process. So at the first step, what we are doing is, we are trying to understand the Mithyatvam of our own physical entity, and we are equating it with the Mithyatvam of the universal physical entity, that is the Adi Devika. Egatvam Vipretya Saptangatva Vajanam Murdha te Vyapitishat Ityadi Linga Darshanacha. So remember, Lingam is a Lakshanam. Suti, the Upanishad's literature, is showing certain signs, Lakshana Vakyas, that is, Ityadi Linga Darshanat. Now, this is, according to Vedanta, we experience this in Sushupti. We experience this merging of Vishwa and Taijasa into Prajna. We experience this in Sushupti. But when we return from Sushupti, again we come back to the old experience, because avidya, kama and karma, that is maya, all they are intact when we return from Sushupti state. So in Sushupti state we get a taste of this experience, but that doesn't create much difference. Actually, every person in Sushupti state, he transcends this the Vishwa state, Taijasa state and Prajna state, or reach Prajna state, when he experiences the deep sleep where there is no Anyadha Grahanam, there is only Agrahanam. Agrahanam means in Sushupti state you are not aware of the absolute reality, but you do not create alternate realities. Anyadha Grahana means you mistake one for the other. The cause for Anyadha Grahanam is Agrahanam. So in Sushupti there is Agrahanam, total non-comprehension. From total non-comprehension you get wrong comprehension, which is happening in Swapna state and also in Jagrat state. So the Sushupti state is considered to be the Karana state, the causal state. But even though we experience the merging of Vishwa and Taijasa in Sushupti state, still it is not correct, it is not beneficial to us spiritually speaking, because when we return to Jagrat state, all these avidya, kama, karma, they return with us, therefore it doesn't benefit us. Then there is an important statement, I shall discuss this earlier, but I shall go back to it now. Murdha te vyabadishat. This is a statement coming from King Ashyapati to Prachina Shala, the son of Upamanyu. What he says, it is dangerous to meditate on Durloka as if Durloka constitutes the whole of Vishwanara. There is nothing wrong in meditating on Durloka as part of Vaishwanara, but it is very dangerous to meditate on Durloka as the whole of Vaishwanara, because Durloka is only the Murdha of Vaishwanara. If you meditate Durloka as constituting the whole of Vaishwanara, Murdha te vyabadishat means your head will fall off. It is a metaphor. I mean, you will get your spiritual progress blocked, because normally Vaishwanara Upasana and many of these Upasanas are meant to help a jiva to reach higher and higher levels of existence after death. So finally, you first Chandraloka, Suryaloka, Brahmaloka, one after another. So that is eventually leading to Krama Mukti. That's the purpose of all these Upasanas. But if you do Virata Upasana in a very improper manner, then what happens? You will have Adhogati. You will have your progress blocked, and you will degrade yourself, and you will go down in your spiritual evolution. So that is the real implication of the strong language used by King Ashwati as Murdhate Vyabadishat. So those of you are interested, you can, if you don't have the book, but you can just listen carefully. It is from Mandukya Upanishad, where Vaishwanara Upasana or Vaishwanara Vidya is discussed. Murdha tu esha atmanaha iti hovaja murdhate vyabadishat yenmam na agamishya iti. So Ashwati tells Prachina Shala, is the sage who went to him to learn. He's one of the sages. It's a group of sages went to King Ashwati to learn Vaishwanara Vidya or Vaishwanara Upasana. So he told, if you meditate one of these entities, one of these parts of Vaishwanara, and the Murdha or Pada or Dehamadhya, middle portion, if you meditate on one of these as the whole of Vaishwanara, then your spiritual progress will be blocked. That is the meaning of the statement, Murdhate Vyapatishat. That's meaning is here. Now, before coming to the next mantra, Virajayagattam Upalakshanartham, that's an important term here. Now you can listen to the next portion. Before that, so there is this gradual samhara process is explained here. Samhara here means from sthula going back to sukshma and eventually to turiya. That is samhara. That is at the first stage, Sharira stage, Adhyarmika Pinda Upasana, and it is equated with Virat Sharira, and then that is meditated upon as merging with Taijasa Hiranyagarbha of the Swapna state, and they both get merged into Prajna or Avyagratma in Sushupti state. Now, the next statement, Virajayagatvam Upalakshanartham Hiranyagarbha Avyakritatmanohu, etc. So Virajayagatvam, so Viraj, it is Jagaranta, means Virat, Virajo, Virajaha, that's the meaning here. So Virajayagatvam, it means the idea or the concept that this Prapanchatma, or the Paramatma expressing as Prapanchatma, himself is existing in this Sarirantasthidatma. I mean, this universal self called Viradatma is himself present at the at the Vyashti level in Vishwa. So this is, and both the Shariratma at the Adhyatmika level and Prapanchatma at the Adi Devika level, they are the same. That is Virajayigatvam. So that is the meaning of Virajayigatvam. Upalakshanartham. What the Upalakshanartham means? Upalakshana here means a statement is made, but that statement, its meaning is not limited to that particular statement. There is an infinite possibility of expansion of the implication of that statement. So that particular method of analyzing Shruti statements is called Upalakshana Nyaya. So very often, there are Vedantins, Madhusudana and others, they would tell you, Shankaracharya himself makes statement, that all Shruti Vachanas, all Shruti statements are Upalakshanas. Because the Shrutis of the Vedas cannot exhaust the truth of what Shrutis are trying to expound. All the Vedas, all the Upanishad statements are only approximations of what they are trying to expound. That's why you can find this at the end of Chatussutri. There are 3-4 lines which Shankaracharya says, even Aham Brahmasmi Mahavakya itself is an approximation, is only an attempt to explain Aham Brahmasmi Anubhuti. Aham Brahmasmi Shruti statement and Aham Brahmasmi Anubhuti experience are not the same. So in that respect, all Shruti Vachanas are Upalakshanas. Upalakshana, there is a very Vivakshadanyaya Pradiyogida Avachedayam Vyavachedagam Yadha Kakena Devadatta Griham Kakopavishta Griham. There are 2 types of Upalakshanas. Those of you who are interested, you can remember. Kakebhyo Dadi Rakshitam. So it is called Kaga Dadi Ghadaka Nyaya means, where a child is asked to protect yogurt or curds from crows. But implication is that he should protect that dati not only from crows, but also from other animals, from cats, dogs, even from thieves who may come to steal the dati. His duty is to protect the dati, and not only from crows, but even from other animals also. So there is this Upalakshana has got an implication meaning. The Upalakshana Shastra is called Kagadadhi Gadaga Nyayaka. Kagebhyo Rekshidam Sarpiridi Balopi Choditaha. Upagada Pare Vaki Naswadibhyo Narekshati. So these are all mentioned in the Vakipadiya, Mahabhashya and other. This is the original source which Kumarila Bhatta uses extensively in the Tantravartikam, Slokavartikam and all that. So the present, in this particular context, the idea is the Virajayigatvam, the particular concept is used only as Upalakshana. It is a prelude for explaining or expounding Hiranyagarbha Avyakritatmanoko Ekatvam. Hiranyagarbha is the totality of experiences in dream state or Swapna state. And the Avyakritatma is the totality of experiences in Sushupti state. So, at all levels there is a unity. There is a unity and oneness between Vaishwanara, Hiranyagarbha and Avyakritatma. So, these unities also should be included in the implication of Virajayigatvam. That's the meaning. Just as Kagebhyo Dadi Rakshida means the child is asked to protect the dati from crows, but he is expected to protect it from other animals also. There is another kind of Upalakshana which is somewhat different, that is Kakopavishta Griham. That is another Upalakshana. It's Kagadhikaranyaya. What it means is, suppose you want to explain to somebody, you want to give an idea where the particular, what is the house of Devadatta Griham, the house of Devadatta. So where is the house of Devadatta? And you tell him, Devadatta's house is the one on which, or on the terrace of which, a crow is sitting. But that Upalakshana is not sufficient, because the crow may fly away after some time. A crow is perched on the terrace of a house. And if you want to find out the house of Devadatta, you find out the house on which a crow is sitting. That kind of explanation is not enough, because the crow may fly away, so that is not enough. So there is another kind of Upalakshana which is used for another type of exposition which is not relevant here. But here in this particular statement, Upalakshana is Kakebhyo Dadirakshana. That's the meaning here. So it is a prelude for implying the unity of Hiranyagarbha and Avyagadatma. Uktam cha edat madhu brahmane. So that's again Brihadaranyaka Upanishad stage is referred to here. Yaschayam asyam prithivyam tejamayo amrutamaya purusho yaschayam adhyatmam. That means it is the same statement is made here. That means this on this earth, this Tejomaya, the effulgent, eternal Purusha is in Prithvi, and the same Purusha is present in Sharira. I mean, the Purusha which is effulgent, which is eternal, that Purusha present in the Sharira, Adhyatma state, is the same as the Purusha present in the Prithvi, in the entire universe. Such again is a Adhyatma Adideva or Adhyatmika Adideviga Ekattum, Viraja Ekattum. That's the implication here. So this Sruti statement is quoted here as a pramana. So Sushupta Avyakrutayohu Ekattum Siddhameva. Sushupta Avyakrutayohu Ekattum Siddhameva. That's a very, Siddha means Sarva Pratyaksham. Everyone knows that we get a kind of Advaita experience in Sushupti. That's because all the Dvaita experiences are transcended in Sushupti state. So Sushupta Avyakrita Yoko Ekattum. So Sushupti state, Sushupti means Sushupta here means the Vyashti level, somebody who is in Sushupti. And the Samashti experience of Vyakrita, the same. So in both states there is Agrahanam. You don't see anything, you don't experience anything. When there is no Agrahanam at all, please remember, there is no Anyatha Agrahanam. In Sushupti state there is no Anyatha Agrahanam, there is only Agrahanam. There is only non-comprehension, there is no wrong comprehension. Where there is wrong comprehension, you don't see something and you see something else in its place. That is called Anyatha Grahanam, which is present in Jagrat state and Supna state. In Sushupti state, there is no Anyatha Grahanam, there is only Agrahanam. You don't see anything, you don't comprehend anything. So it is common in the Vyashti level of Sushupti state and also Samashti level of Avyakrita state. That is why Sushupta Avyakrita Yoho Ekattum Siddhameva. Siddha means obvious, everyone knows Sarva Pratyaksham. We get some kind of an Advaita experience in Sushupti state, in Avyakrita state. Nirvisheshatvad, because we don't see anything special there. Evam chasati edat siddham bhavishyati sarva dvaita upashame cha advaitamiti. Similarly, siddham bhavishyati, it becomes very obvious. Siddha means pratyaksha siddham or sarva siddham. I mean sarva pratyaksham is the meaning of siddham here. Evam cha sati edat siddham bhavishyati sarvadvaita upashame. When all Dvaita prapancha becomes transcended, when they merged into one Karana state, Agrahana state, that is the Sushupti state, then we get a glimpse of Advaita experience. Please remember, Shankaracharya doesn't equate Sushupti state with Jiva Brahmaikyam, not at all. What he says is, the only way we can get a taste, the only reason for us to get a taste or interest in Advaita experience is the experience that we normally get in Sushupti state. In Sushupti we get complete restfulness. That's because there is no friction. There is no friction because there is no Anyatha Graha. Create friction, but Anyatha Grahanam creates friction. In Anyatha Grahanam, in the Swapna and Jagrat state, there is subject-object conflict. So we become agitated, disturbed. But in Sushupti state, the subject-object distinction disappears because there is no object, there is total agrahanam, non-comprehension. So there is a negation or there is a cessation of Dvaita, but that happens in a very unconscious way. We are not able to transcend avidya, kama and karma, which constitute maya. Only we don't experience them. When we consciously try to practice spiritual sadhana or vichara, that is going from sthula, vishwa, jagrat state, then only we will be able to consciously transcend and go beyond avidya and kama karma. Then only we get real Advaita experience. But otherwise, in Sushupti, you get a taste of it. So, Bhashya, other Tikagaras will tell you in other Advaita books, the only reason we feel that Advaita experience is something wonderful is because we get a taste of it in Sushupti, where we experience total restfulness and joy. So that experience of joy and restfulness prompts us to experience it in real life with our own sadhana. So sadhana sadhutya sambhati, sravana, manana, nididhyasana all will help us to eventually experience this consciously in Jagrat state, not in Sushupti state. When we experience this in Jagrat state, it could be called Samadhi, it could be called Aparokshanubhuti, etc. Now we are coming to the fourth mantra of the Upanishad. You can see. Supnasthano antaprakya saptanga ekona vimshati mukha pravibhaktabhu taijaso ditiya padaka. So, the first pada, that is Thula, Vishwa, Vaishwanara, that discussion is over. Now we are coming to the second pada, that is about Sukshma. We compare to Vishwa Taijasa of Jagrat state, Swapna state or Taijasa Hiranyagarbha. Taijasa is the Vyashti aspect and Hiranyagarbha is the Samashti aspect of Swapna experience. So that is more Sukshma compared to the Jagrat state. So, Swapna Sthanaha. So, Bhashya comes. Swapnaha sthanam asya taijasasya iti Swapna Sthanaha. So, here, sthanam here means aham bodha. That is the meaning of sthanam. It doesn't mean position or status. Means you find a particular word used here, manaspandanam or manaspandam, alternatively used. which is responsible for the projection of Dvaita Prapancha. So, the Manaspandanam of Swapna state is Swapna, that is dream state. So, Sthanam here means Bodha or Aham state. So, this Jagrat Prajna Aneka Sadhana Bihir Vishaya Iva Avabhasamana. So, Jagrat Prajna. The Prajna is Jagrat, is awakened. Awakening is happening not only in Swapna but also in Jagrat. In both states, awakening is there. But awakening or the awakening of the Aham Prajna in Swapna is dream state. The awakening of Prajna in waking state is waking state. In Swapna state, we experience things at the subtle level, Sukshma level, without the involvement of Panchajnanendriyas and Panchakarmendriyas, with only mind involved. But in Jagra state, mind and also Panchajnanendriyas and Panchakarmendriyas, Antakarnas, they are all involved. So here, first there is a discussion of why we travel or how we travel. Why and how we travel from Jagra state to Swapna state. That is explained here. Aneka sadhana bahirvishaya iva avabhasamana. Aneka sadhana here means sthula sharira. So in Jagra state, we need a lot of other instruments, other tools in Jagra state. Aneka sadhana bahirvishaya iva avabhasamana. Aneka sadhana here means sthula sharira, then shabda sparsha rupa rasa grandha, panchajnanendriyas, panchakarmendriyas, antakarana, that is mana, buddhi, chitta, ahankara. All these are involved in our experiences in Jagrat state. That's why aneka sadhana bahirvishaya iva. So in Jagrat state, the Bhashya Prapancha tools are involved. Different aspects of Bhashya Prapancha are involved as Karanas in Jagrat state. In Swapna state, Avidya, Kama and Karma alone are involved. That's the main difference. So in Swapna state, Avidya, Kama and Karma. Jagrat state, Avidya, Kama and Karma are there, but the main instruments are Sharira, Panchajnanendriyas, Panchakarmendriyas, etc. So Bhashyakara says, Aneka sadhana bahirvishaya iva. So bahirvishaya iva. Iva is used again to imply the idea that really speaking, all these experiences are taking place in Prajna. But in Jagrat state, we feel that they do have a reality outside of ourselves. The reason is Aneka sadhana. Sharira, Indriyas, Jnanendriya, Karmendriya, Sharira, Mana, Buddhi, all these external tools are actively involved in projecting experiences in Jagrat state. But in Swapna state, these external tools are totally absent. Only mind projects all these experiences, and mind projects these experiences with the help of memory, and memory functions because of avidya, kama and karma. So Bhashyakara, I will explain in course of time, is like a piece of cloth. So what all we experience in Jagrat state, all this we store, manasi adhate. That's why I'm going to read it again. I'm going to read it in course of time. So we gather different experiences in waking state. How do we gather? Using Sharira, Mana, Chitta, Ahankara, Jnanendriyas, Karmendriyas and so on. So all these are stored up in the Chitta. And then in dream state, they are projected. but they are not projected physically. So Bhashya sadhanas are absent in Swapna state. Bhashya sadhanas are present only in Jagra state. But avidya, kama and karma are active. So because of avidya, kama and karma, these memories gathered in waking state are projected. See, like a piece of cloth, they are written differently in Swapna state. That's the graphic language metaphor used in this Bhashya portion. So whatever we gather from waking state, we project in the mental canvas, like a piece of cloth on which we write. In waking state also we use the same cloth. Cloth corresponds to our mind, manaspandana. But in waking state, we write on this piece of cloth using jnanendriya, karmendriya, all these external things. But in dream state, we write on this cloth according to our memories and samskaras. So Bhashya continues, Aneka sadhana behir vishaya iva. Behir vishaya iva. The iva is always used in Advaita philosophy because it drives home the idea that they are actually not outside. Behir vishaya iva. As if these experiences are taking place outside. There is no outside, inside distinction in Vedanta. So in order to drive home the idea that external things are essentially unreal, to emphasize the point, the word iva is used to emphasize the idea that they are not real. So aneka sadhana behir vishaya iva avabhasamana manaspandana matra. These are only manaspandana. Manaspandana here is, we should, difficult to explain. Manaspandana is sometimes called a parinama, an evolute of avidya. It is actually coming from avidya. Avidya here means the real maya or avidya which is responsible for this world, the avarana and vikshepa. So the avarana and vikshepa together constitute maya. It's the cause of the world. Manaspandana is a part of that maya or avidya, according to Vedanta. It is the upadana karanam. So manaspandana is the upadana karanam of prapancha. So in that respect, it is non-different from maya. So manaspandana matra sati. Tadha bhudam samskaram manasi adhatte. Tadha bhudam samskaram. So all these samskaras, all impressions, vasanas and vrittis are gathered from waking state. It is stored up, it is kept in the mental system, the chittam. Tanmanaha here means it is that anirvachaniya, that maya. That's the meaning of mana here. Tanmanaha. It is not a sankalpa, vikalpatmika, antakarnavritti maya. It is not that maya. That is the most primary definition of maya in Vedanta. Sankalpa, vikalpatmika, antakarnavritti. That is mana. So mana is defined in Vedanta as sankalpa, vikalpatmika, antakarnavritti, manaha. Here in this Bhashya, where you read this, tan manaha tadha samskritam chitrida iva pataha. Here tan mana here means the anirvachaniya, the inscrutable maya. That is the real meaning of mana in this particular word, tan manaha. Tatha samskritam. Tatha here means just as gathered from waking state. Samskritam means that series of imageries that we gather from waking state will undergo some transformation when they are projected in dream state. That is Samskritam. Chitrida iva pataha. So it will be like it will be painted on a piece of cloth, and the same piece of cloth, which is mana, avidya maya, The same avidya and maya is responsible for experiences at the external level in waking state. The same maya or avidya, which acts as mind here, tan manaha, which is like a cloth, is the thing on which we write the experiences of dream state. That's why Chitradaiva Padaha, Bhakya Sadhanan Anapeksham, without the involvement of any of the external things. So we already discussed earlier, for experiencing things in Jagra state, in waking state, we need Bhakya Sadhana, which means Sharira, Mana, Buddhi, Ahankara, not the Mana of Maya, but Sankalpa, Virpat, Meganta, Kanurti, Mana. That mind is involved in waking state, in Jagat state. And also Panchajnani Indriyas, Panchakarma Indriyas, Vasanas, Vrittis, Samskaras, all are involved in waking state through Bhakya Sadhanas. But in dream state, Bhashyakara says, Bhakya Sadhana Anapeksham, without the involvement, without the need of depending upon Bhakya Sadhanas, without depending upon Jnanendriyas and Karmendriyas, Sharira, etc., Avidya Kama Karma Bhihi Preryamanam, prompted by Avidya, Kama and Karma. Preryamanam Jagratvat Avabhasate. So, this is how we experience dreams. Jagratvat, just like waking state, we experience in dream state all these various things, but without involving Bhakya Sadhanas, without involving Sharira, Panchajnanendriyas, Panchakarmendriyas, etc. But one important thing, Avidya, Kama and Karma alone are directly involved in projecting the experiences in Swapna state. That's why Bhashyakara says, Tanmanaha, that Anirvachaniya, that Maya, that Avidya, Tatha Samskritam Chitradaiva. Because of Avidya, Kama and Karma alone, we are forced to retain memories of waking state. If you are free from Avidya, Kama and Karma, we don't retain memories. Because we have strong inclination, liking or dislike, attachment or aversion. Because of all these mental impurities, we fill our system, our psychological constitution with imageries. And because of this, the waking state experiences are strongly, emphatically registered in the mental system. Avidya, Kama, Karma. That's why Bhashyakara says, Bhakya Sadhana Anaveksham, Avidya, Kama, Karma, Bhihi Preryamanam. Avidya, Kama and Karma strongly register the waking state experiences in the canvas of mind. And then Jagradvat Avabhasate. So just like waking state, we experience things in dream state at the mental level, but only with the help of Avidya and Kama and Karma, without involving the Bhakya Sadhanas, Sharira, Indriyas, etc. Here is a Pramana Vakya quoted here, Tata Chuktam, Asya Lokasya Sarvavadu Matram Abadaya, etc. That's the Brihadaranyaka. So we'll discuss this again in the next class. If you have anything to ask right now, you can ask, otherwise next time. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Sri Ramakrishna Order of India.